Happy Friday and welcome back to F.a.N Question Friday. Hope you've had a great week. It's been a pretty good one here after my pup didn't have to have surgery. That was a huge win. I had some great weather and I got my first COVID vaccine, so it's been pretty good overall. I got the Pfizer one, not that I really cared, but I've heard the second one's a doozy, but I mean, if we can feel like we're protected from this nasty virus, and I love seeing that the numbers are coming down. It's so nice to see. I did get a question from a follower if it's been a noticeable difference with the restrictions being lifted here in Texas. And honestly, we were pretty open before they were lifted. So much was already open. But what I noticed this week is that, like at my grocery store, there's no sign anymore that says you have to wear your mask. And so I saw more people in there without it. And, you know, I think it's just based on what your comfort level is. I don't really mind either way. I think when I see the numbers continue to go down and I'm completely vaccinated, then I'll probably feel more comfortable too. But right now, you know, it's still kind of just based on personal preference. I do see stores that still have their sign up that you need to have your mask on, but I don't really know if they would like deny you a service or if they can't. No idea. But it doesn't matter. I'm going to wear my mask until I feel comfortable. So that's the answer to that question. Next question I had was about sugar-free candy and what my thoughts were on it. I love sugar-free candy, and I almost always have it around at my house. My favorite one, I'll show you in a minute. I don't have it here because it's out. I eat it all the time. But the ones I've got right now, I've got some sugar-free Lifesavers and some sugar-free Jolly Ranchers. So I'm going to give you a comparison. Jolly Ranchers, regular ones, for 4 of them, there's 93 calories. For 4 sugar-free, there's 35, so about 60 less. Then the carbs on 4 regular ones is 23 grams of carbs, and the Jolly Ranchers for 4 is the sugar-free are 15 grams of carbs. And not just that though, here's another thing that you can do with those carbs. On these sugar-free candies, there's sugar alcohols as well, and that's the sugar-free substitutes that they use to make them. So whatever the sugar alcohol is on there, you can take half of it off of the total carbs. So for instance, there's 15 grams of sugar alcohol in this, so you can take 7.5 of those off of the total carbs. So it'll make the total carbs 15. Instead of that, it'll be down to 7.5. So this actually has about 2 grams of carbs per Jolly Rancher. Same with the Lifesavers. It says 1 mint has 3 grams of carbs, and there's 3 grams of sugar alcohol. So I'm going to take 1.5 grams from the sugar alcohol off the total carbs, and it makes 1.5 grams per candy. Now, here's the thing to remember about sugar-free candies. It doesn't mean it's healthy just because it's sugar-free. And it doesn't mean it's limitless. It still has calories, it still has carbs, and if you eat sugar-free candies in excess, it can cause some GI discomfort. So just be aware of that. So I wouldn't advise like having a candy dish out that you just have a bunch of them. I would say try to more than likely go by what their recommendation of a serving might be. Now, 1 of these is pretty low, but you know, 2, 3, 4, you might not see any issues with it, but just remember it will affect your overall calorie and carb as well. So if you're diabetic too, yeah, these could raise your sugar if they have sugar in there, or they have carbs in there, sorry. And then there are like sugar-free cookies and sugar-free chocolate candies and things, and they're gonna have more carbs and they'll have some sugar alcohol that you can remove as well. But I think they're great. They're great when you just kind of want to wet your whistle too. So my favorite one is the sugar-free Brock's Cinnamon Discs. I love them. So I usually have them around all the time. My store was out of them. But Brock's also makes sugar-free root beer barrels, butterscotch, lemon drops, peppermints, mixed fruit flavors. They even have jelly, like gummy bears. So I think they're great. Sometimes when you just might have a sweet craving, it can do the trick. And in case I get this question from it, yes, there are studies that show if you eat in excess a lot of sugar-free things as well, it can increase an appetite, which there are things that show that, so just warning of that. But just overall, if you keep yourself controlled in how many you have, it's fine. I am fine with sugar-free substitutes too. I think I've made that pretty clear on these F.a.N Question Fridays. There are people who don't like them, don't want them, and that might be their own convictions. All right, next thing was directly related to this. I'm having a hard time fighting sweet cravings at night. What can I do? Pretty common problem. It's kind of that time of the evening when you're really kind of decompressing from your day. So here's some things that you can try. Everybody's different in what will work as well. But sometimes you need to do something that will change the pattern of hunger and your environment that you're in. So maybe going for a walk, calling a family member, walking to your mailbox to check your mail, going downstairs to fold up a load of clothes, something that just kind of interrupts that system that you're wanting something can sometimes help in that process. I'll tell you just from a personal experience too, I have a family member who really struggles with evening eatings, and they've started doing walks during that time. It's just stopped the late night cravings, because now walking is taking up that time when they're sitting there watching TV and wondering what's the next thing they can eat. So that helps that person. Sometimes just drinking a big old glass of water, sometimes, thirst versus hunger can be cues that your body's telling you. You're kind of getting them confused, and sometimes you're just really thirsty as well. Maybe something like a sugar-free candy might, it'll pass by a few moments. Maybe it'll help you forget that you're wanting something else. Make sure that you're eating adequate nutrition at your dinner time. You might be hungry, and that maybe is what's triggering you to want to eat something else later on, or maybe eat something that you shouldn't, or having temptations too often. So make sure you're getting adequate protein, you're getting some veggies, a little bit of carbohydrates, just a balance of everything. That's really important. Don't starve yourself. And sometimes you may just want to have what it is that you're craving. Now, if you had the craving thing every night, yeah, you might be setting yourself up for too much sugar, too much calories. But if you can help control your own portion sizes and have a good portion control of whether it be ice cream, cookies, whatever, chocolate, if you could just have a small amount, it might just be, it might fill the void that you're really wanting. So sometimes just having a half a cup of ice cream, that 100 to 200 calories or something is satisfying, and then you can move on. So sometimes just have what you want. You don't always have to go work off every extra calorie as well. If you're just doing it periodically, maybe a couple nights a week doing that, then it's fine. Okay. Sometimes fruit can be a good substitute. Fruit is sweet. I've had patients that have liked in the past, like strawberries with a tiny bit of whipped cream, just a tiny bit of whipped cream, but that can kind of give that strawberry shortcake flavor that you might like. I used to love orange Jello salad growing up, and now I make it with like sugar-free orange Jello. It's got like cottage cheese and Cool Whip, but it's really yummy. But just a little bit of that, and the cottage cheese in it has protein, so it's really satisfying. So maybe you can even find things in your kitchen or have things available that are kind of that sweet, satisfying flavor, but doesn't pack a lot of sugar and calories. So maybe have sugar-free popsicles, sugar-free Jello, things like my orange Jello salad, sugar-free candy, but then maybe occasionally have the regular thing that you want too. Regular ice cream, 2, maybe 3 cookies, 2 miniature chocolates, 1 little brick of Godiva chocolate, whatever it may be. So, everybody's different in what works as well. But I loved the questions this week, and I hope you guys have a great week. For those of you who are getting the newsletter, you're going to get it directly from my inbox this week, because I think from the website it's looking like it goes to your spam. So I'm going to send last week's and this week's, because I had some good tips in last week's. So for those of you who subscribe to dinnerinthreetwoone.com, I'm still going to send you both newsletters. I was really disappointed that a lot of you didn't get it, and I got input that it looked really like distorted, and on my end it looked perfect. Hope you have a great weekend, and I'll see you again next week.